This is Toon Talk Weekly, episode 235. This week, Brad and I reminisce about some of our favorite cartoons that we watched in 2017, and we watched an episode of the web series Deep Space 69.
We're totally fracked, man. Our shields are depleted and we've got nowhere to run.
What's that up ahead?
Are you crazy? We can't go into a black hole with no protection.
It's our only chance. Universe, prepare your anus. See? We're fine.
The day just keeps getting better. Hey everyone, it's Tuesday once again. That means it's time for another episode of the weekly cartoon podcast, Toon Talk Weekly. That's, of course, this show, so thank you once again for joining us to talk all about cartoons this week. I'm Jake Williams, but I'm not the only person you're going to hear today. Brought along Brad Chmielewski once again. What's up, man?
Later. Hey, later. It's already the end of the show. What's up?
It has been one of those days for Brad. Hey, later.
Thanks for tuning in. Follow us at Toon Talk Weekly.
Just shut your camera off and leave. I decided I didn't want to do this today. That was perfect. How you doing, man?
Yeah, doing pretty good. How about you?
Well, I'm doing well. Welcome to the beginning of the show. We do this every week, and it's been a weird week. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. Of course, last week was our first episode of the new year of 2018. But because we were kind of having all these travel plans between us and holiday plans and all that stuff, we didn't really get to do a proper sort of quick recap maybe of discussing some of our cartoons that we enjoyed from last year. And so I wanted to bring up today the cartoons that we watched in 2017. And not necessarily, we're not going to talk about all 52 of these. I mean, that's a lot of cartoons.
Right, yeah.
It might actually even be 51 or 50. No, I think it's 52. There might have been the way the days fell. And we got
overlap,
an extra one.
Yeah. Was it a leap year or was it?
Or something like that. But I thought we'd just bring up some of our favorites from last year, whether it was favorite cartoon or it was favorite just we liked the episode where we discussed the cartoon kind of thing. Were there any, Brad, off the top of your head that jump out at you as some of your favorite memorable ones of 2017?
What was the puppet one? Adam...
Oh, Atomic Puppet.
Atomic Puppet. Was that this year or no?
Oh, that's a good question. I was actually just looking, and I don't know that it was.
Oh, okay.
But I know they've come out with more, and this year we did Adam Ant and Atomic Betty, so we've done plenty of those.
Yeah, so maybe that's what I'm thinking. You know what? I think it would probably be Harmon Quest.
Yep. Yeah.
That's just one I ended up signing up for whatever the other service was and watching it and then deleting my account within the same 3 days. I was Vivo or Vivi
or VRV.
Yeah. So I was I'm gonna watch these. Okay. Now I'm good because I watched them all so quickly.
Yeah.
When I got that, I was yeah, this is good, but it's not that good.
Dude, you know what's funny though? You did one better than me because I signed up for CISO and then they shut the entire service down.
Right.
So I didn't get season 2 at all. I still only ended up watching all of season 1. But that was a good one, man. I really like that episode because we also brought Ethan in, who loves Dan Harmon and a lot of his work. So it was good to have kind of an expert there. If YouTube or comments know anything, they think we don't know anything about Dan Harmon. So
yeah, and if you haven't watched season 2 or are questioning paying for it, I don't bother. I think
more of the same.
More of the same. Season 1 is better. There's just a lot of almost trying to capitalize on how maybe popular or how fun season 1 was, and it's kind of it's not there. It could have been I think what the divorce thing happened for him. And it just felt more off. Like maybe they weren't focused on.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
I also think we in our discussion on our episode, which I have it right here. I was like, oh, I'm kind of ready for this. Harmon Quest was episode 210. If you guys want to go check that one out. In our discussion, we talked a lot about how like kind of the guest star tends to make the episode more memorable or like better. Mm-hmm. Like for instance, I loved John Hodgman's character who just made sandwiches out of people, and that was just a memorable thing, and I liked that episode. So, so if the guests weren't as good on the second season too, I could see that not being as fun.
Yeah, it's hard to. I don't remember really who was there.
Yeah,
right. There's some decent ones, but
and I think you'll say you'd agree when you watch a lot of those right in a row because it is one long adventure. You totally just start forgetting the episodes. They just run together as one big story.
Exactly. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Another show that probably jumps out at me is OK KO because I've watched all of that Cartoon Network has to offer for me. So I am pretty well versed in OK KO now at this point.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was one I marked off that I was like, Brad probably got a lot of mileage out of this because you were at a point in your cartoon watching career where you like were out of Steven Universe and or Clarence and you needed another like cute boy show.
And now I'm out of all three of those again after I found 2 more episodes of Steven Universe on the Cartoon Network app.
They're trying to keep you down, man. They can't stop you.
I know.
One of the shows that I thought you would bring up, and maybe it's completely forgettable, but I remember you enjoying a lot, was that mobster Family Guy show. Forget About It.
I've watched a lot of those.
Which like I didn't think was that great, but you seemed really into it during the episode, so I was like, maybe that touched Brad.
What's even funnier about that show is my cousin. She's going to college in North Dakota, and a lot of the people at her college are from Canada, and they're from Regina, which is the stupid town that they got shipped to, which I thought was made up just for the show. And I was like, I've heard of this town before because it's in this cartoon.
You're not going to believe this, but it's on a show called Forget About It, and you should know more about it.
Yeah, she'd never heard of it, and I think was kind of surprised that I knew that this town existed.
Existed at all? Yeah.
Yeah.
That was great. Early on in the year, we did an episode of a show called Cops, which is not a great cartoon by any stretch of the imagination. This was episode 188, but some of my favorite shows are the shows that are, a lot of them are older, they're 80s or 90s, and they're so cheesy that I'm laughing harder than I should be.
Okay.
I just remember that the show was like, each cop basically had like, not like a superpower, but just something they were good at. And I just remember how stupid the episode was of this like heist up in this, not a blimp city, but like it was
like an airship or like a sky cruiser. I don't know.
Yeah, but just really dumb stuff, like a rookie telling the chief like, yeah, I'll be right back. Like, you hang on, and all of this hubbub, and then a guy just reaches out and pulls across an air bridge with his hands. He's like, oh, I could have just done this the whole time. Like, just lots of dumb stuff. I thought was a lot of fun. A show I didn't get to watch a lot of. Episode 193, we talked about Teen Titans Go. Still an amazing show. Still one I just haven't made time for. It's pretty sad, actually.
Right, yeah, same.
I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up Shirt Tales, episode 204, since I happen to own the entire set of DVD. I haven't watched any more since. I probably should just watch them since I have it. I also shouldn't have broken it out of the packaging. That might be worth something someday.
I know. Yeah, you messed up there.
What else did we do last year that was great? Counterfeit Cat was a lot of fun. It's one I want to revisit, the one where you didn't realize the second character was an alien. You just thought it was a weird-looking cat.
I know, yeah. That show, yeah, for whatever, it was on a Nickelodeon? Or
I think it was a Nick show, yeah.
Yeah, see, for some reason I don't have the Nick app on my phone, and I think they do weird stuff with their episodes. They're not like all on the app where Cartoon Network has the episodes there, the seasons.
Yeah, and I can't remember if they're doing things like, I know Welcome to the Wayne, we first covered that, 3 years ago or something, was like a web-only series. I don't know if Counterfeit Cat was that or something like that, where they were testing it out on the web, but that was one I wanted to revisit more of. That Castlevania series we checked out on Netflix was awesome, and they've renewed that for a second season, so we get way more Castlevania now, or at least hopefully more than just 4 episodes.
Yeah.
But man, it's been a crazy year. It's really funny to like compartmentalize or to like scope your year into a weekly show that you do, because some of these shows, the first one you brought up wasn't even on our 2017 list, but I can still remember talking about the episode of Atomic Puppet where they're in a pizza parlor that's actually aliens pretending to be aliens at this like UFO pizza parlor. It's so weird how some of this stuff sticks with you. And if you guys are listening along every single week, maybe you have the same feeling where it's like, oh yeah, I totally remember that episode of Gravity Falls they just did. Yeah, that was 4.5 years ago.
Yeah.
So 2017 filled with a bunch of cartoons. After looking at the list, like, it's a really good mix of any of those. If you guys wanted to recap any of our year, it starts at episode 182 all the way up until two episodes ago, 233, when we did Charlie Brown Christmas. So 52 episodes in a year. Hey, it's weekly. That's how it works. And I don't know, good year of cartoons. Hopefully 2018 is looking up and we have a lot more good cartoons on the way, including, well, good. We'll wait to see if it's good or not after we discuss it. Including the show that Brad found called Deep Space 69. Brad, where did you find this? Because you linked it in our Slack for work, and I have no idea where you came across this.
Oh, how did I come across it? I don't remember. It could have just been a recommendation on YouTube, or it might have been something that I just maybe it was on like a list of like good YouTube one-off cartoons or something like that.
Yeah. Like, you should just watch this list of cartoons or something. Yeah.
Yeah. And they're part of this show, or on this channel, as part of that, Happy Tree Friends, or...
Yeah, so it's created by Mondo Media, who I think their famous show is Happy Tree Friends. Apparently Mondo, there's very little information out there about Deep Space 69, but there's a lot about Mondo. Mondo creates what they call Mondo mini shows, which are aimed at teens and young adults, and they're exactly what this is, which Deep Space 69 can be best described as these 3-minute YouTube shows. Like, that's literally what it is.
Yeah.
Dude, I didn't even realize this, though. A little fun fact was that Ad Age magazine in 2013 said Mondo Media was the top-ranked and all-time most popular YouTube channel at that time. That's kind of crazy.
What? That's surprising. Wow, crazy. Okay.
I mean, I guess that's how maybe YouTube was pseudo in its infancy, and so, like, original neat content like that was to the top. Now it's all, like, celebrity, right? Like, if you're a famous kid, you're, like, on the top. That was kind of nuts. And Happy Tree Friends was a show that I didn't realize. I guess maybe it was a web series first, but I first saw it on Adult Swim or something. Maybe that came later.
Yeah, I feel like it was on Adult Swim, or little clips of it.
Yeah. So what can you expect from a show called Deep Space 69? I think there's not much to be said. You know exactly what sort of content or what sort of flavor of show you're going for here. But in general, the 3-minute kind of micro episodes are sort of the misadventures of this transport ship in outer space that's led by the Captain J and his Koala sidekick, kind of copilot named Hamilton. They're the main characters that you see in every single episode. They basically touch on a lot of what I guess can be described as like the humorless sci-fi films and series. I don't want to say like a thing like Star Trek, it's not humorless, but a lot of sci-fi things take themselves very seriously, or did at the time. And what Deep Space 69 does is basically flip those over and say, like, okay, we love sci-fi stuff, but we're not going to focus so much on like the exploration or the data or the science or anything. But basically, this guy's just super horny in space, and so he can go anywhere. So there's these very weird situations that Jay can get into. That's really where the 69 part comes in, is that literally...
It's about sex, yeah.
Yeah, Jay is all about sex. The captain, all he wants to do is go off on these weird side missions, regardless of what he actually needs to do in his position as captain of this transport ship. And Hamilton is usually stuck just saying, why? Like, why are we doing this? We have so much other stuff to do. This is stupid.
Yeah, are they meant to be like, they're just shippers, right? They do like odd jobs, it seems.
Well, that's the thing. This description, it says that, hey, we're a transport ship, but I really couldn't tell you a whole lot of what they actually like do.
Right, but it's also like, what? Like, isn't the Millennium Falcon, aren't they more of a transport ship, or it was? So you pick up stuff, you're taking it for someone else, like you're basically like an independent truck driver, right?
Yeah, kind of. But dude, I'll say, because these are 3 minutes, you can plop them right on and you don't even notice. also, I think Mondo they have a huge playlist of, I think, the first and second season, or at least the first season on YouTube. You can watch those for free. The rest of the current seasons, as far as they've gone, I think the show premiered in 2012. As far as they've gone, this show is still premiering, and it's over on VRV. So
Right, yeah. Yeah, it's still running. It seems like there's a lot of stuff there. It's almost overwhelming.
Yeah, and Mondo, nicely, on YouTube at least, they have a season 1 marathon. It's just a 45-minute video, so you could literally pop that on and watch the whole season. I will say, though, having watched about 10 of these things now, maybe 8 to 10 of them, man, even if you break them up into the 3-minute chunks, for some reason, your brain does a weird coherent thing where every single episode starts with Jay and Hamilton in their cockpit, and it kind of talks about what the mission's going to be. Then a weird thing happens. Then they end up back in their cockpit. And because there's that bookend, it doesn't matter when and where you watch these, your brain like connects them all into this bigger story that makes the show feel like way deeper than it truly is, because it's not.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I was watching them in order, but I think you can just watch them completely at different parts and it doesn't really matter.
Right. And it's kind of weird. It's a kind of a weird formula, right? Because the show is so all over the place, each episode is like distilled down to what you would say about like an episode of Seinfeld or Friends or something, right? We're like, oh, the one with blank. Mm-hmm. They literally distilled it to one fantastical weird moment that happens. Oh, the one where he goes to the DMV. Oh, the one where the little like monster is like sucking on his crotch the whole episode. You know, like there's like weird things that they did to distill it down to just that. So it's kind of interesting. As for the show's style, I mean, I want to call it just like flash web animation, because that's what the movement, a lot of it is. But the backgrounds and some of the ship design is actually pretty intricate.
Yeah, I don't know. There's pretty nice detail there for, I guess, how just cheap the show is. But yeah, all the artwork, it's pretty nice. I think you said the backgrounds, the space stuff, the other rockets, the places they land, like the, I guess, base stations. Yeah, there's just a lot to it. Like, there's work put into this show.
Yeah. I think all the ships, they actually look like they're 3D, too. I don't know that they're 2D. Because there's so many angles of them. Plus, we should mention that their transport ship is shaped like a dick. It's got huge balls and just a pointy tip. That's exactly what you would think it would be. And lots of times they allude to, in these weird space battles, like there is an episode where they come across another ship, and there's a Rastafarian captain who like beams his face on to talk to them about how like they're gonna board them or take them over. He's supposed to be like a space pirate. And
they couldn't understand a thing he was saying. I didn't understand it either.
Dude, no, my favorite part, though, was that he said something along the lines of, like, he had a very thick Jamaican accent that I will not do justice, but something about, we'll open up on your ship, blah, blah. And I was like, that's awesome.
He did the blah, blah.
Yeah.
This be Blob Marley. Hand over your ship, lest me missus be like, blah, blah.
Did you understand anything that guy just said? I don't have time for this. Ship, launch all... Oh, wait. Wait, Ship. Do you have any space weed?
No.
Launch all the rockets.
Sure, we now go aboard that nasty ship, man. Your ship got the Ross clap. Samson, come round, point us back to the beach.
But there was an obvious sexual reference here where Jay said, oh, we're going to return fire because you don't have weed on your ship or something. And it was like a soft jizz or something came out of it. Like it was like a ejaculate, basically. It was like, oh, okay. So there are moments where this show is like, can be incredibly crude. But for some reason, maybe it's because it's so simple, I wasn't ever offended in a way. I can't think of a good example of one that like was crude for the sake of being crude and it just wasn't funny. You know what I mean? Because that stuff's out there.
I think the episode where he had this alien where it was basically just sucking his dick the whole time. I don't know if you watched that one.
Yeah.
That one, I felt like for being 3 minutes, it got old very fast. And you're like, I get this joke, but that one maybe fell short for me.
Yeah. That one was episode 3, The Crotch Hugger. So it's exactly what it sounds like. And weirdly enough, there are lots of references to other that, you know, it's not just like taking the tropes from these things like a serious sci-fi stuff like Star Trek, Star Wars, Alien, that kind of stuff. There's lots of direct references to that stuff. And maybe it's because it's a web series. They can just do that. It's like parody. So
right. Princess
totally
Leia
legit.
is in one of them. She's a princess on a planet, and he goes to that planet to have sex with her.
Welcome to the OGC-1. I'm Jay. I'll be your party captain. Only one rule on my party ship. You party hard, or you go out the airlock. How would you like to come see the cockpit?
How old are you?
Old enough to piss off your dad. Not old enough to be your dad.
There's literally an episode, I believe the episode is called License to Bone. This is episode 5. Also, every episode is usually sexually charged in nature, where they go to the space DMV and they're waiting in line with literally like Chewbacca, Han Solo, characters from Star Trek. There's like literal representations of these other characters from popular sci-fi stuff. So they don't tread around it. They're very aware of what they're doing with the show. And frankly, I think it's pretty cool. I think it's cool that they're like, these are the things that inspired us, and these are the kind of things that it's these like mini conversations you would have with your friends already about like how funny or ridiculous it would be if X happened in this serious show, right?
Right, yeah.
So that stuff's pretty great. So generally, Brad and I just watched a handful of these to give you guys a better idea of like what we thought of the art of the show. Especially this is probably mainly the best example of a show we could possibly do this on because every one of them is 3 minutes. I might as well throw the whole episode in here for you guys.
Like, right, just play it here. But yeah, we don't want to do that. We don't want to get in trouble for.
No. But and there's lots of fine detail in the show too. A lot of the background art. One of my favorite episodes was episode 4. It was called Shipfulness, and it was actually the Rastafarian episode we were talking about where. He went unprotected. They flew unprotected through a black hole, and something happened to his ship.
Yeah, and he basically got an STD.
So, but there are all these weird mini details where, like, because there's so much like sex and cleavage and that kind of stuff in the show, when they're at the like, what do you want to call it, like mechanics fixing his ship. In the background, there's even art of like. Next to a kid's picture of probably one of the mechanics' kids or something, there's also a calendar with like alien butts that like some supermodel or like swimsuit that like maybe a mechanic would have hanging in their sort of in their like office or something. Mm-hmm. So there's lots of these like mini details that were pretty great. And I like the characters you meet along the way too. Like even though they're one-offs, like this mechanic and his daughter in this episode. Actually, dude, through like 8 episodes, I feel like every other episode he's meeting somebody who has a sexy daughter that he wants to sleep with.
Yeah, that's probably the easiest thing because it creates that conflict, right? Of the two people there. But yeah, like you said, all those details, they're so good and it makes it hard. You can't just like put on in the corner of your screen and, you know, be doing something else or reading something else or working and have that on because you miss a lot. And it happens so fast, you just get distracted, and then you're like, I just watched 10 of these, and it's a half hour later. Crap.
Yeah, because they're so short, I think you kind of need to watch them. And even though we said it, bookends all the time with Jay and Hamilton kind of like back on their ship. You still feel like you're kind of watching the same episode, and if you missed any one little bit from this, then you kind of miss what happened in the episode.
Yeah.
I think one of the last ones I watched was episode 8. It's called Sirens of Tetons, and it's all these like they go to this planet where there's all these sirens. You know, the famous the Odyssey, right? The sirens that call to the ship the sailors to come their way. However, there's usually danger there. These sirens are these beautiful naked women they come across, but they have these scary, ghoulish old men heads, but they talk like sexy women. So it's really strange. But I missed a chunk of the episode because I looked away for a second where they're basically sleeping together and he makes her wear a paper bag over her head because it's this crazy zombie looking thing. But she's got all these weird dogs in the room there too, and even some of them are writing in poop on the floor, like "Run, get out of here!" Apparently, they also have the power to turn these men after you sleep with them into dogs, and that's what happens. And at the end of that episode, Jay even arrives back at the ship as a dog, and I'm not sure. I haven't watched the next one yet, so I'm not sure if does the next one start and he's a dog now.
Probably just back to normal. You're just like it doesn't matter.
Yeah. So they go to some weird places. I'm not going to say I haven't watched a ton of Rick and Morty, but it kind of like gave me that vibe of like this is a micro comedy version of what maybe Rick and Morty does way deeper, obviously, right? Like going to all these different planets and dimensions. It's not time travel. It's
They go to it's hard to describe. They just go to parallel universes, really.
oh, okay. So, but you know what I mean, where you have the idea that space is involved and you can go almost anywhere you'd want to. That totally opens it up for the creators to do these like crazy, weird characters you might meet. And in this case, they're just usually sexy. Like,
yeah, well, that's the point of the show is he's going to have sex with someone in that episode. When you start it off, you're like, yep, that's about what happened. Hopefully you gave like a not safe for work episode tag on this in the intro here.
I guess I should have said that 20 minutes ago, but you watch at your own discretion, I guess, if you want to watch any of these. I mean, look, it's not pornography or anything, right? It's still cartoons, it's still blurred, and it's still like alludes to stuff. But because it's a web show, I guess technically they could probably do whatever they wanted to.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they can, but they don't. Yeah, it's all meant to be a little bit of your imagination.
Right.
The ones that I saw, you never see them having sex.
No.
It's either happening behind a door, you hear the sounds. It's either afterwards that you assume that it happened and they're like smoking a cigarette. They're like, oh yeah, that was good. Or like he's basically kicking the girl out, or like, oh, thanks for the good time. See you later. And so you never see, you assume that they had sex. But
I would argue that the episode of Archer we watched was like more nudity like 4 years ago. And that episode of, was it C-Lab, where somebody goes and like has sex in the, there's the Bizarro, I don't quite remember, but that I remember that feeling like kind of uncomfortable. For as weird and as uncomfortable as like watching this really horny space captain is going to find all these alien women, I don't know why it like didn't bother me. It was just so quick-witted and fast. Also, I'm pretty sure it's not, but the main character Jay sounds a lot like Seth MacFarlane, so I kind of thought he was like part of the show. I kind of thought this was like his example of Brian or something from Family Guy. So something about it. Maybe it's just how simple they knocked all the characters down to. Like, Jay doesn't have a nose. He looks like something you'd see in like a web comic or like a, I want to say Flash Video. What was that site? Newgrounds, or like a Newgrounds cartoon or something.
Homestar Runner kind of thing. Yeah.
Yep. So I don't know, man. Kind of an interesting show. It's funny you came across it because, look, I don't know if it's a show with like a deep fandom or anything. We're definitely not crapping on your show if that's the case, but it's kind of just a fun, like really quick watch. But it is one of those things, man, where you cannot put it on a second monitor. You sort of just need to watch it because it's so fast.
Mm-hmm. But it's also like perfect if you need something, if you're with your phone in the bathroom, and like it's perfect for that too. Like, all right, I got like 3 minutes. Let's do this.
If you're thinking about starting exercising for the new year, and then 3 minutes later you're kind of tired of exercising, this probably fit your whole workout. You know, throw it on the TV. You're fine. Yeah, man. No, it's fun. I'm glad you found the show because I like doing new and different things too. I think this is our first ever like micro show. We've done maybe 5-minute episodes of stuff before, but
yeah.
Boy, they accomplish a lot in 3 minutes. They tell an interesting, fun story in 3 minutes, and it's not exactly deep, but it is Deep Space 69. So that's where I'll end it. So Brad, thanks for bringing the show to my attention. I keep saying, you know, sometimes I say, oh, I'm going to watch more of this, or I won't, or whatever, but I probably honestly will watch more of this because it's like, oh, that was another one. Oh, that was another. Oh, I've watched 15. Dang it.
Well, now because it's messed up your algorithm on YouTube, so it's recommended probably.
Yeah, now it's going to be video game clips, podcasts, business advice, and then episode 17 of this random web show that you haven't seen yet. No. So, cool. Well, guys, if you want, you can check out most of, at least the first season of Deep Space 69 is over on Mondo Media's YouTube page. And otherwise, I think the newer seasons, it's all on VRV. So that's where you can check it out. But that's going to do it for this week's episode. Brad, let's get out of here. Where can people find out more about you when you're not recording Toon Talk Weekly?
So you can follow me on Twitter. It's @brad, and then my blog is digitalhitchhiker.com.
Great, guys, go check them out over there. You can follow me on Twitter at Jacob Williams. And, of course, if you want more Toon Talk Weekly, we're on Twitter at Toon Talk Weekly, Facebook.com/Toon Talk Weekly. We're over on Google Plus as Toon Talk Weekly as well. Of course, we've got our email, toontalkweekly@gmail.com is the place to find that. If you want to send us any messages, let us know of any shows you'd like us to cover in the upcoming year. We got a full slate of cartoons or weeks coming up for the year. Those aren't going to change, so we're not going to stop doing podcasts. And the website, toontalkweekly.com, is the main place for all of the shows we've done up to this point for the last 4.5 years. You guys can go check them out over there. With each post, we do a video version now. We've been doing that for, I think you called it out recently, over a year now.
Yeah, it's been a year, yeah.
I remember like the first thumbnails I was making. So you guys can check out the video version. Head on over to YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. We did get a few more subscribers this week. I've been seeing those come in. So thank you guys so much for liking our content. First of all, enough to subscribe. We appreciate you guys listening and watching. But it helps us get towards our goal of getting the show out to more people as well. So hit that subscribe button over on YouTube to help us get that sweet, sweet URL. And I think that's going to do it for this week's cartoon. Nothing's going to change in 2018. We'll be back next week with another cartoon.
Take care.
Now you can say later, Brad. To learn more about the show, visit toontalkweekly.com or follow us on Twitter at Toon Talk Weekly.